So, Animal Crossing dropped last week, and a lot of people are enjoying the game. One common theme that I hear when it comes to this game is that it's just what we needed right now in these times. So, they're of course referring to the fact that the game has a lot of social elements to it. You go visit your friend's island and so on and so on. But there is a core problem to this game that a lot of game journals have an issue with. And of course, let's not forget about the crazies over on Twitter. They have a problem with this game as well. And that's, of course, themes of colonialism. That's right. You go and take over an indigenous island. And this is a problem given the history of the American country and, well, the Western world. So one website has stepped up above the rest and offered a guide to how you can avoid these themes and be a better person of Nook Island. And it's very important that you do this because, well, it would make your house a better place. I don't know. But one website has offered a guide to help us get through this game so that we don't promote colonialism and damage. This way, when people come to your island, you set a good example. And thankfully, but why though, a geek community has stepped up to the plate and given us a guide on exactly how we can avoid these terrible, terrible ideologies. So we have a beginner's guide to AntiColonialism and Animal Crossing New Horizons. So we have a trusty guide here on how to avoid this and just, be a good citizen of the social global world here. So we got this little guide. Let's go over this. It starts off, foreigners discovering remote islands, settling, exploiting their natural resources for profit, and acting as if there's nothing wrong with it all. Sound familiar? It's because the premise of Animal Crossing New Horizons is the age-old story of colonialism. But fear not, dear reader, because not only can Animal Crossing Horizons help keep you sane during these trying times, it can also be a useful tool for anti-colonialism education. I've devised a list of 8 ways new and veteran Animal Crossing players alike can take social responsibility while enjoying their time on their and their friends' new islands. Take each entry with a grain of salt and some much-needed humor, recognition of privilege, and the gravity of colonialism's impact on the world. At the end of the day, these are really just great tips for getting started with your new island life.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
So I had to double check, make sure that this website wasn't fake or satirical, but it's pretty legit. They think they're doing the game industry a service, and they're helping out Animal Crossing players by delivering an anti-capitalistic message because they think that they're gonna help out the world by giving us this wonderful, great guide here, which I find hilarious because this is a game about furry animals or furries on an island, and you collect fruit and dig holes and fish. But hey, we got to see an agenda and, crazy stuff and everything. So one of the first tasks in Animal Crossing New Horizons is naming the island you inhabit. With no known native peoples, we can't ask what they call the place, but neither can we assume that they are not people who did not inhabit the island before or have deep connections to it. That's right, yeah. The digital game that you boot up and it creates the world, I'm sure there might have been people living on it. It's like we live in that game Reboot or something. It's strange. It's a strange way of thinking. Okay. Of course, people have named and renamed places in their native languages for thousands of years. Naming the island for your own nomenclature is perfectly acceptable and only if you follow the following rules. Thankfully, we have this guideline to how we name the island here. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what they say. First, do not ever, under any circumstance, name the island after yourself or any other colonial figure. It's just unacceptable. So this makes me want to totally restart the game and name my island like George Washington Land or something. It really does. Just so I hope that this I don't want to say anything too nasty, so that this person shows up and sees it and gets offended and leaves my island immediately. Like, I almost hope that they've come across tons of islands like that, because how stupid. I mean, it's not really big. You can name the island whatever you want. Some of my favorite names I saw on Twitter, well, someone named it like horse genital. It starts with a C, you know what I'm saying? I thought that was pretty humorous and hilarious. But that sticks to these guidelines that they've came up with here. So I really want to go and name the island like George Washington Land or Abraham Lincoln's or something like that, just to kind of make these people angry. Because imagine if this person rolls up on an island like that, because you can take the plane and go to other people's islands. That would be a glorious thing. Probably be slamming their keyboard, throwing their Switch across the room. I think that would be pretty funny. The rest of it goes on to talk about you can't ask natives, but it's okay as long as you don't break that rule. You're good. So let's move on to the next one, which is just as important: imposing new technologies. How in the world did Tom Nook set up a cell phone and internet network on your new island? I don't know. That's the first thing I wanted to know when I played the game. I had that question too. How did he do it? It's probably written in the game code when they made it, but how did he do it? How did he do it? Tom, you rascal. How'd you set that up? Of course, that's incredibly racist to put that in an abandoned island. How dare you, sir? There could have been someone living on that island. Well, Tom Hanks was there with Wilson. You needed to ask him first before you put that up. How dare you, sir?
How dare you?
So anyway, yeah, he didn't do it without building cell towers. That's for sure. That's right. The imposition of new technology has always been a colonial tool for making the colonists feel more powerful than the indigenous peoples. But those technologies can come with serious consequences. Cell towers, for example, and the generators needed to make things powered can easily disrupt wildlife and make food acquisition more difficult. Stick it to the man by taking full advantage of Nook Miles program. Complete as many of its tasks as you can so you can reinvest the toxins of capitalism back into community development projects like birdhouses from the new DIY workbench, or help offset those disruptions as best as possible. So the Nook Miles program, if I'm remembering this clearly, don't you take a plane to go to other islands with that? So aren't you, by not putting up the tower and the generator, aren't you polluting more by taking the plane to theoretically, another island, so who knows how far away that is. God forbid it's something where you just take off and land immediately. So doesn't that put more pollution out there than the little generator? Especially if you're doing it over and over again just to get resources that you could have had if you had had the tower? Seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's best to do that because it could be racist to have the generator. So thankfully, this is a cartoon island. So that way, I guess you don't really have the pollutions. It's probably little flower pots that like poop out of the jet when you're flying. So I didn't take that into account. That could be the case here. This needs a little bit more work here. I feel like taking the plane is just as racist, so I'm not sure. Anyway, pollution and deforestation. Bringing our modern technologies to remote areas is bound to create pollution where pollution didn't previously have as steep an impact. Remember, to put out your fires when not in use, turn down the volume during Nook's morning announcements to reduce noise pollution. Always remove trash when you see it and walk. Don't run as frequently as you can avoid causing erosion and other damage to the natural environment. Plant local trees and avoid digging up indigenous flora too, to do your part in carbon reduction. Okay. Trees are a vital resource for everyone from construction to firewood to landscaping. These are acceptable practices in moderation. When you do need to remove trees for one reason or another, always plant a new tree for everyone you remove to ensure there's enough wood for generations to come. Can you imagine this guy playing this game? Like, this guy's not having any fun. Or no, the fun for him is thinking that he's reducing colonialism or something with his digital island in Animal Crossing. Like he thinks he's making the world a better place or something. I don't know, but what a boring. Don't run. So, just do the little walk. Don't run. Like, imagine visiting this guy's island. I would go there and just ransack it and dig holes all over the place. I don't know if it's permanent. I haven't visited anybody's island yet. But I did see someone saying that they like to go just loot islands and leave right away. Can you do that? Can you save an island? Because I would just keep going back to this jackass's island over and over again and just like chopping things down and taking all of his resources. And then I would come back and do it again. Imagine how mad he'd be. He'd be like trying to chase you, but he wouldn't run. So you're running all over the place and he's just doing his slow walk. Stop it. Stop it. It'd be kind of funny. Next up, don't remove flora and fauna. So that kind of displacement and overhunting the invasive species, also a big problem in a video game. Got to be careful of that. You need to stop having fun, let weeds grow all over the place because you don't want to get rid of those indigenous flora. That's a problem. So we need to stop that. Don't build fences, none of that stuff. Come on, people, don't have fun in the game. Let it be a mess. Stay in your tent, number one. Don't build a house. Houses are also racist. You can't have that kind of stuff there. So you just knock it off. Knock it off. Stop having fun in the game. Cut it out. Selfish. Selfish people. This is so while you should avoid removing weeds, which are really just indigenous flora, we didn't think are useful. For the aforementioned carbon sequestration purposes and to minimize your damage to the natural biome, some beautification is probably inevitable. So it's important, remember, you might have to tear some stuff down because, well, you want to make the island look pretty, but, you want to minimize the damage to your virtual landscape because, while the rivers are in the ocean, it's very important there. And it's a digital game. And you want to do your part, even in fun times. So you must always be thinking of these things all the time, 24/7. Never stop thinking about this stuff. So you're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to, unwind, unplug. You must always be thinking of carbon and all of that stuff. Always, always. So anyway, also, always build a fence around your flowers and keep them away from water so that they don't spread wildly. They are not indigenous, and we cannot measure their potential impact on the local flora and fauna. So it's very important that you don't do that. But doesn't that take away from other things? So if you build a fence, you have to take wood. So eventually, would you tear everything down? I know you would plant new trees, but it takes a while for a new tree to grow to the size of the old one. It takes a long, long time. So aren't you doing more damage? It's kind of counterinductive to what you want to do here, but it is what it is. So yeah, don't pull the weeds. Don't pull the weeds. Don't kill any bugs. Careful where you fish. You don't want to take too many fish. Make sure you build fences, but also don't cut down the woods. Don't run. And all this other stupid stuff. What's wrong? How do you have fun in this game? So it leads off here. Good anti-colonialists. Don't let anybody leave trash behind. And this is the final hot take on your list to be a good Animal Crossings person that is globally carbon aware. So when you're visiting remote, unique islands, this is a massive privilege. Don't squander it. You're going to just go jet-setting off to safari and hang out on other islands, which you should do time and time again to keep sane during these times. Be a good citizen and don't dump anything off on those islands without permission from the locals. Dumping is illegal and immoral and should not stand for it on your island residents either. Of course, sharing gifts and spreading culture is a wonderful thing and should always be encouraged, but only with full and enthusiastic consent of both parties.
What a story, Mark.
Anyway, I think you get the idea here. So that's your handy dandy guide on how to be a good person in Animal Crossing. I would love to just go to this guy's island and just dump my garbage off all over it, dig holes, chop down his trees, and then take all of the fruit and then roll back to my island and then go back. Can you do that? Because that would be hilarious. It'd be funny if like tons of people would like, it's like invading in Dark Souls. You know, just go invade and take all of his resources and dump trash all over the place. That would be pretty funny. I would find that quite humorous and a good time during these hard times. And it would be worth a kick. I would get a good laugh out of it regardless. I would be laughing. This guy would probably be shaking his fists and chasing you in walk mode while you're running circles around him because he doesn't want to leave a carbon footprint in his digital video game on his Nintendo Switch. So, yeah. This is just funny stuff. So I thought this would be funny. I thought this would be a fun article to go over, given, you know, doom and gloom. I thought we could have some fun, and, you know, that's what this was intended to be. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me your thoughts. Do you think this guy like is miserable while he's playing this game? I think so. Are you playing Animal Crossing? What do you think about it? I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Are you having a good time? Is it a fun game? Are you ignoring it? Do you hate Animal Crossing? Let me know your thoughts on those as well. Share the video. It's also important. Throw a like up if you would. Make sure you still subscribe. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.
Our time has come. For 300 years, we prepared. We grew stronger. While you rested in your cradle of power.